Salvete discipuli. In this video, we're going to talk about the use of the word pro. It's a new preposition, and we recall that when we have a preposition, oftentimes that preposition will take, meaning it will require the next word to be a certain case. It'll take a case. We talk about prepositions taking the ablative or taking the accusative. Well, you're learning a new preposition, a new way, the ways to use this preposition and the case that it takes, along with some new vocab, and we're going to do exercise 89. So in our book here, it says, the preposition pro always takes the ablative. So that's easy. This one takes the ablative, and most prepositions do take the ablative. In expressions of place, so if we're so we'll see what pro means. Pro means in front of. So it says here that pro is a preposition with the ablative, and it means in front of, or it can mean on behalf of. So in expressions of place, if we're talking about where something is placed, pro means in front of. So it means in front of something. And here's an example, pro exercitu, in front of the army. We recall that exercitu is the ablative. If you don't believe me, just sing the fifth declension song, or no, the fourth declension song. Us, us, we, it's the ablative. Pro exercitu, in front of the army. Pro, especially with nouns that name persons, frequently means on behalf of or for somebody. Now we can use the dative to say, the dative alone to say for somebody, but when we say for, just want to be clear what this means. Like, I'm subbing for someone, I'm subbing on behalf of someone, versus I'm doing a gesture for a person. And I know that sometimes those can sort of be the same thing. I'm doing it in place of somebody, I'm doing it for them, like for their benefit. So it just kind of, there's two different ways, I guess, sometimes that you could say those things. You could either use the dative without any preposition, and it means for that person, or you could say pro and use the ablative. And I'll give some examples here. So Maria pro hominibus orat. So Mary prays for or on behalf of men. And so hominibus is the ablative. It's just the ablative plural. But let's say we want to use the dative way to say this as well. Maria pro hominibus orat. Let me just transcribe what it had on there. Maria pro hominibus orat. We could also say, we could keep our same subject and say Maria. And we can say not the ablative, but the dative. And if we decline homo hominis, homini, hominem, homine, homines, hominum, hominibus, homines. Oh, you guys are being so patient. Hominibus. Okay. Pro takes the ablative. So when we say pro hominibus, we're using the ablative. But we could also use the dative, right, which is right here. There's the dative, there's the ablative. We could also use the dative. We've already known, you guys have already known that dative means to or for somebody. But if we want to say that Maria is praying and it's for their benefit, which it is, right? We could also just say hominibus, Maria hominibus, without a pro, orat. So this means Maria is praying on behalf of men. This means Maria is praying for men's benefit. They mean essentially the same thing, but both would be correct. And it's just, but here when we're using hominibus, we're using this hominibus. Okay, let's look at the other example that it says here. Pro rege, for the king. or on behalf of the king, they made a battle. Facerunt is they made, and impetus is battle, but of course it's the accusative, so because they made it, so impetum facerunt. They made the attack for or on behalf of the king. And so just know that if something's given to a person, that's dative. But if an action is done and it's for somebody's benefit, you could also use the dative for that. In this exercise, let's actually just use the pro with the ablative. Let's use what it's teaching us. All right, new vocab that may show up in this next exercise. Pro, of course, means in front of or on behalf of, and it takes the ablative. Inopia, inopiae is a scarcity or a want. Dominus domini means means master, or if we capitalize it, it means Lord, as in God. Murus muri is the wall. That's a second declension masculine word. Another second declension masculine word in Dominus. Frumentum frumenti, that's a neuter word. So grain. But look at this. It's a word with a special meaning in the plural. So now that we've seen a couple of those a little ways back in the year, don't be surprised if we see some more pop up in our vocab. So frumentum means grain, but everywhere we see it on the plural side, it means the crops. It doesn't have to be grain. Legio, legionis is the legion. This is a feminine word, it's telling us here. Why is it telling us feminine? Because Sachs rule would tell us that it's feminine anyway, legio. Maybe because it's a thing that's made up of men. A legion is a thing that's made up of men, so you might be tempted to use the natural gender rule and say that it's masculine, but it's telling us this is a feminine word, just in case you were tempted to consider it masculine, okay? All right, exercise 89. Legiones Romanae pro castris erant. So, right, I'm looking at my verb here, erant, and I'm noticing that we're going to need a plural subject. Legiones is plural. Legiones is plural. And Romane is an adjective describing the legions. What kind of legions? Roman legions. And so this is feminine, we were just shown. And so we have a feminine ending in Romane. And looks like they're nominative, plural. Everything is checking out. So we're going to say the Roman legions were. The Roman legions were pro castris. And I recognize that castra castrorum is camp. And so we're probably not doing something on behalf of the camp. We're probably talking about space. So pro probably means in front of. And in front of the camp. And castris, of course, would be the ablative of castra castrorum. Sancta Maria pro hominibus malis et bonis orat. And so our subject and verb, our subject should have a singular subject. Sancta Maria is our subject. Maria is the actual subject. Sancta is just an adjective that's going with Sancta Maria. So it's Holy Mary or Saint Mary. I'll put Holy Mary. Orat, praise. Now, the hominibus is referring to a person, right? And so this time, pro probably means for or on behalf of. I'm going to write for because it's shorter. For hominibus malis et bonis. So malis et bonis. These are all ablatives, the ibus and the is and the is, because we just have two adjectives of this first and second declensions. And we have a third declension noun. So that's why the endings don't match, but these are the two adjectives that describe the hominibus. So men, but what kind of men? Bad and good men. For bad and good men. Holy Mary prays for bad and good men. Sancta Maria pro hominibus malis et bonis orat. All right. Valete discipuli.